How about now? Can you hear me now? I bet you that's what you needed. I bet you can hear me now, can't you? Didn't have my microphone turned up. What's the verdict? Can you guys hear me? Yeah? Can you still hear me? Can you hear me now? What's the verdict? Hey, Johanna, how you doing? Hello, Chips and Naughty. Hey, Teresa, Grizz, Sorrenti. Okay. Hello, hello, Amy. Hello, Gabby. How is everybody doing today? Very cool. Nice to see everybody here for the live stream. Hey, Woody, how you doing? Nice to see you in. Hey, Lady Hawthorne. Wow, look at all these people showing up. Very cool. Very cool indeed. Well, we've got, I think, what may be an interesting show planned for today. At least that's what I'm hoping for. So we'll, I guess we'll see as it goes along, won't we? See just what happens. So, all right. Colleen is also here. Hello, Colleen. I guess you're watching with Johanna. Seaway 44. What's up, Grandpa? How you doing, Seaway? Seaway 44. I like that name. That's interesting. Makes somebody wonder a little bit, huh? Okay. Let me get my papers organized here, and we can get started. All right. So this episode, this live stream, is going to be about sharing, or actually bestowing boons on my fellow man. Yes, Woody, I'm sorry, but you'll be able to hear anyway. Quite worried for the elections. I'm not worried for the elections at all, Sorrenti. I think the elections are going to be a farce. It's going to be a disaster. Okay. Rhonda, you see nothing? Why do you see nothing? That doesn't make any sense. I know why Woody can't see. Can everybody see? Can you see the video and stuff? Am I coming through okay? Sorrenti says I can see fine. Teresa, Johanna, you guys can see me okay? Rhonda, can you see me? Hey, Grizz. Be able to show some more of that here in the near future. Yeah, Rhonda, refresh your screen. Maybe that'll help. Go out and come back in. Yes, Panda, Psycho Panda, Boon Bestowal. So here's the deal. A while back, in some of the videos that I did, I touched base and talked about some of the things that I've had a passion for in the past. And I've gotten sidetracked from those passions. I've had a dream my entire life. Johanna's on here. She can attest to it. I've wanted to sail around the world my entire life. Always have. Yes, Tex Avenon, never eating yellow snow would be considered a boon. And the key to that is that I've been trying for 30 years to figure out some way of sailing around the world, and I figured it out finally. I think I finally have it right this time. And so that's what this is going to be about, explaining to you guys why I want to bestow boons on my fellow man and how that's all going to come apart, or come about, actually. So what I wanted to start with is last week I was watching a video by Video Creators, a guy who has a channel here on YouTube called Video Creators. He does a really nice video content for my channel. I'm very concerned with providing you guys with a good story about telling you guys in an entertaining way what's going on with my life and trying to do as good a job as I can do as a content creator for you guys. And so this kind of struck home with me. And anyhow, here's what Joseph Campbell had to say. You know, when we're doing stuff on YouTube, we're trying to tell a story, and that's what this is about. And all stories have the same formula. And here it is. He says, a hero ventures forth from the world of common day. Well, actually, let me get over here. I have got some visual aids. So let me go to the visual aid right now.
A hero ventures forth from the world of common day into a region of supernatural wonder. Fabulous forces are there encountered, and a decisive victory is won. The hero comes back from this mysterious adventure with the power to bestow boons on his fellow man. By Joseph Campbell.
Okay, so that was Joseph Campbell and his quote, and I found it to be, well, frankly, really, really interesting. It really kind of struck home with me, and so I wanted to touch base with you guys about that. To me, there's a couple operative words. The one operative word is being able to bestow boons on your fellow man. In order to be able to help people, you need to have some experience and things that you have to go through. Let's see, Amy Davis says, that's why Lord of the Rings, Beowulf, and Harry Potter series and the like are so popular universal themes. That's right. And, you know, that's no different than here on YouTube. If we're going to try to do something quality, then we need to look at things like Lord of the Rings, Beowulf, and Harry Potter as examples of how to tell a good story. And so the operative words to me were being able to bestow boons on the fellow man, having a decisive victory won. But the one thing that I thought was the most interesting sentence in all of that was the very first sentence, which said, a hero ventures forth. Now, I think in life, everybody wants to be a hero to some degree. And so I thought it was pretty interesting. A hero ventures forth. So I guess, you know, Jason, I see you got on there and put a comment on about your insomnia club. I don't do that to you. I don't appreciate you coming on here and doing that to me. I'm sorry if your channel's having problems, but that's your problem, dude. Anybody on here that's one of my moderators, if Jason comes on or anybody comes on doing something like that, promoting something else, please bounce them. We expect people to behave when they're on the chat here and not do stuff like that. Anyhow, so who makes the best heroes? Well, Amy, that's easy. A hero makes himself. A hero makes himself by taking that first step, by venturing forth. That's the whole thing. You need to venture forth. You need to be able to get up in the morning and head out the door, something outside of your normal daily stuff. And that reminded me of kind of what I'm planning on doing and what's been going on. And so I wanted to touch base and talk a little bit about that. I keep saying a lot because I'm trying to think this thing through. I have this all written out, and I'm kind of like jumping through and paraphrasing it. But let me start out with this. I've always had a passion in my life. Since I was a little kid and watched Jacques Cousteau on television, I've always dreamed about scuba diving and sailing the world's oceans. I always have. And that's a huge dream, but it's a dream that I've always had. I've had a passion for that even my wife, Johanna, who I was married to 30 years ago, will tell you that even back then, I've had that dream to do that. And I've been working towards that dream my whole life. You know, I've learned to scuba dive. I'm really good at scuba diving. I've learned to sail. I actually started sailing with a friend of Johanna's, one of my ex-girlfriends, Debbie Rowntree, who is now Debbie Lytle in Ohio. She taught me how to sail on a little sunfish. And so it's interesting to see how things are are moving along from there. So anyhow, I had this passion about Jacques Cousteau, and I got it in my idea to do a show because nobody else is. Nobody else is doing anything like Jacques Cousteau. There's just nobody in our society today that's putting up that kind of content. Sea Shepherd Society is the one who's doing anything really marine related that seems to be mainstream. And frankly, I see Sea Shepherd as more terrorists than doing much good. I think it's great what they're doing up there, and I thought it was great when they were watching and learning and reporting on what was going on. I think they crossed the line when they started crashing their boats into other boats. Yes, whale wars is what I'm referring to. So I try to anyhow I try to be careful with that. So I'm sorry, I'm being distracted by the chat where they're talking about having bounced Jason. I'm sorry, folks, it's just bad form. I've gotten on other chats and inadvertently mentioned about the fact that we were going to be doing a chat, but I never did it while their chat was going on. And for him to get on here and try to tell people to come over to his chat instead was just bad form. So, okay. So anyhow, I've had a passion about doing things like Jacques Cousteau, and I've had minimal amount of success. And let me give you an example of one of those. A few years ago, my second wife, Penny, and I developed a way of being able to produce a television show, which we had out on network television. It was actually on a TV network called Versus, which was outdoor sports and that kind of stuff. And anyhow, here's the introduction to our Travelers in Paradise television show.
Hi. Look at them apples, huh?
I'm Penny. I guess a yellow feather is good for catching barracuda, and that's it.
And I'm Lacey.
Knowing how isn't my job. I just drive the boat.
We're just three very ordinary people
On an extraordinary adventure.
Come join our family as we travel the world by sailboat, exploring exotic locations, and become one of the Travelers in Paradise.
Okay, so there you have it. That's what our show was about. We were going to sail around the world and do videos about life aboard a boat and sailing around the world. And as I was trying to get that accomplished, things kept getting in our way and stopping me from being able to be successful with that. So anyhow, so long story short, we worked towards getting divorced, and I ended up buying a sailboat this past spring because I wanted to get out and shoot some footage and stuff on it. And if you guys are fans of mine, you've been seeing some of those videos coming out now. I've been uploading some of them on the channel. With my shoulder being hurt, I'm using some old material just to have some material to put up because it's hard for me to get out and film stuff right now. And in watching that stuff and going back over that, it reminded me that that's really what I should be doing. That's what I should be doing. There's a lot of good that I could do in doing that. And so, I started thinking about doing a show called 29,200 Days. And so I started putting up this information about sailing around the world, and I started a TV show, and this is or a YouTube channel, and this is sort of the intro for that channel where I was showing a little globe spinning around and kind of the proposed route that I was going to be going. And in any event, time has come around now where I have the opportunity to go forward and do this for real now. And so I'm going to try to buy a little bit better boat. The boat that I had this spring was not big enough and did not have the right equipment on it. And I'm going to try to buy a bit bigger boat so that I can go ahead and move forward in doing that. I am going to try to sell the farm up here and start living a life more aquatic. And I'm hoping that you guys will follow along and watch, because I'm going to try to cover some things I got to try to cover some things that I think you'll find interesting. And let me tell you, like some of the things that will work. First of all, the problem with putting our television show that we had on network television is it's just too expensive. It's too expensive to produce that way. It was too expensive to put on the air and to edit and what have you. And fortunately, YouTube has provided us with a medium now that really can work to make this very cost effective. Teresa Dean wants to know, if I buy a bigger boat, are you planning on sailing the world's oceans? I am planning a circumnavigation. So yes, getting a 7-year itch to go sailing. Teresa, this is not a 7-year itch. This is something I've been wanting to do 30 years at least. Tex Avenue, never saw shrimp fishing. Well, you will see some shrimp fishing. I put some shrimp pots out. Didn't catch any, but this coming spring, I will be putting some more of them out. Hey guys, if you have questions for me, please put it in all caps. It makes it easier for me to read the screen. Where is the farm? The farm is in Willow, Alaska. So I'm in south central Alaska. I have 80 acres here, which I have on the market for $279,000. And that's a reasonable. I'm a real estate broker, so I can tell you that's a reasonable price. Yes, T, you're right. I am from Long Island. I learned to sail in Manhasset Bay on the north shore of Long Island. I've sailed Long Island Sound and boated Long Island Sound most of my youth. Back in the day, I remember being 14, 15 years old and having to go to a class where I got my, they called it a captain's license. It wasn't, but, you went to a boating course and you got a certificate that you could, reasonably understand the rules for being out in the ocean. And I remember my parents letting me be 14 years old and taking our 16-foot boat out with a 40-horse Merc on the back. And I would take that out in the bay and go fishing by myself. I would go offshore with that boat sometimes. It was just stupid to think I didn't know any better. So Woody wants to know, how long will it take? Woody, a very quick circumnavigation takes 4 years, but it'll probably be longer than that. It'll probably be 8. The real Huck, there is no house on it. There is a dry cabin. There is a well and a septic system in place that are not hooked to the dry cabin, but that's all that's on the property. There's just a dry cabin. That's enough for a boat. Psycho Panda, actually, after I pay the mortgage off and pay off the wife and the divorce, what will be left will be just barely enough for me to be able to buy the boat. I'm actually going to be taking a huge cut in pay. I do fairly well as a real estate broker. I'll be losing that income and will have to live on nothing more than my YouTube and hopefully Patreon income while I'm doing that. And I know that sounds stupid, okay? One more idiot out there expecting everybody to support what they're doing. I get that and I understand that. And if I was just buying some sailboat and sailing around the world, eating cocktails every night and dining on seafood while you guys are in your cubicles working, I could understand that. But understand that's not what this is going to be about. This is going to be about trying to do good everywhere that I'm traveling to. In fact, some of the things that I've been involved with already have been some pretty interesting projects. There's a company called reef.org. This is a group out of the Florida Keys. They are worldwide. As a scuba diver, we get trained to identify certain types of fish. Every time we go scuba diving, we count fish. We do a fish count. We actually survey the reefs that we're diving on and get a total number of fish, and we report that. Well, enough people are doing that in enough areas that they're starting to build some real good, solid data now so that other scientists can access that data for their studies, whatever they're trying to study. And there's a plethora of people that use that kind of stuff. So that's one example. My kids would take the 14-footer out. Yeah. How are you going to update us on your adventures while sailing the Ocean Blues? Teresa, I'll be in and out of many ports. I'll be posting videos on at least a weekly basis. Too many people will be there for you. Too many people will be there for you. I'm not sure what you mean by that, T. Satellite Wi-Fi is too expensive. I probably will not be uploading. It's like old school dial-up internet. It's very slow. It's great for maybe a quick email, but it's not good for anything else. Oh, cool. You're going to travel too? That's interesting. But I have so much going on in my life right now, raising my kids. I would love to move to Alaska. I'll put up 50 a month. All right, Woody. Well, we'll be setting up a Patreon page, Woody, so I appreciate that. I'll let you know when we have it set up. I really do appreciate that. But so that's one thing is reef.org. There's a shark organization where they're doing shark counts and identifying sharks. Same thing with whales. There are phytoplankton studies. So when we're out on the ocean, we can monitor phytoplankton migration. The largest migration that happens in the world happens every day in the world's ocean. Phytoplankton move up and down in the water column, generating the largest migration of living animals, or living creatures that migrate is phytoplankton in the world's oceans. So we'll be doing a study about that. The Ventnor group is doing a global DNA genetic bank, basically. They're testing all of the water all over the world, taking samples, filtering that, and developing a DNA registry, again, for building databases for ongoing research that will happen now and in the future. Tex Abelman, I'm selling my 80 acres for $279,000. So yes, Teresa, this trip will be very definitely a learning voyage. It's going to be much more like the Jacques Cousteau kind of thing. We're going to be talking about a specific thing going on, archaeological dig that's going on underwater or on the water, fish studies and fish movements and fish management. What else? Shark studies, phytoplankton. Anyhow, plastic studies. There's a huge plastic study going. Actually, there's at least a dozen that I can think of plastic studies going on right now. And some really interesting groups are coming out with some solutions to remove plastics from the ocean, which is awesome. So being able to get out and identify some things is, to me, is going to be interesting, and reporting on that, so that, you guys sitting back in middle America can make the connection. And I'm going to get on my soapbox here a little bit, but every time you go out and throw Scotch fertilizer out on your front lawn, you are in effect adding to the red tides that happen out in the Gulf, out in the waters, that kill off a lot of fish. People in America are putting so much nitrogen onto the ground, more than it can use. The rains wash it off into the water systems. It goes down the rivers, the creeks and the rivers out into the ocean, causes large blooms out there, and that sucks the oxygen out of the water and kills off huge numbers of fish. I'm sure if you follow the news, you've seen some of this stuff being reported. Well, they found that the basic reason that's happening is it's traced back to agricultural runoff. And agricultural runoff is not just farmers out putting cow manure in their fields. It's also more homeowners putting stuff down on their lawn, more stuff than they need. So putting those kinds of things together and tying that all together is kind of the direction that we're going in. And so my hope is to kind of leave this coming spring if I can. I'm hoping to buy a larger boat. It all depends on how quickly I can sell the property here. And yeah, Cubbies 3-2 at the bottom of the sixth. Oh boy. Oh boy. Have I looked into making a GoFundMe page for this trip? No, Tex Abelman, I've not looked into going a GoFundMe page. I would rather do the YouTube thing where I'm actually earning my own income, but then also having a Patreon page for those people that want to support those kind of efforts that'll be ongoing. That's the thing that'll be the next question. Where or who will take care of Lily? Teresa, Lily is going with me. She is a water dog after all. She can swim, and I do have a life vest. In fact, it's just right over here to the side of me, underneath a bunch of stuff. She does have a life vest that she will wear while on the boat. As long as she's down below or in the cockpit, she doesn't need to have it on, but if she's out on deck, she'll have her flotation on her. It's kind of a neat flotation thing for dogs. It's a lightweight vest, but if she gets in the water will trigger a cylinder that will inflate the bags and float to the surface. It's automatic. She doesn't have to, it's not like the human ones where we have to pull anything or anything. As soon as it gets wet, it inflates and she goes to the surface. So she will be going with me. I would not be leaving without her. Let's see. How do you get internet at your cabin? Real Hawk, I have high-speed internet here at the cabin. It's run-in hardline along with my electric. I am not off the grid. I am on the grid. I have electricity. I'm not running a generator, and I'm not on solar. This is regular grid-tied power, and so our internet comes in with that. We have, where my cabin is, I have excellent cell phone service, excellent internet, and excellent telephone in that. You'll notice that my upload quality, the picture quality of my upload isn't really great. I have great download speed with my internet, but not great upload speed. Sponsors will be something that I'm going to be very careful about. I certainly would welcome people that have good products, like as Tex Admin was saying, something like shark repellent, those sorts of things. But not just any old thing. I'm not going to just, put my name behind anything. It's going to have to be pretty good quality stuff and stuff that I would normally be using before I'd be able to speak positively about something. So it won't just be a free-for-all. Can I find info on your property online? Real Hawk, if you go to, if you just message me, go to my channel, click on the About button, and then there's a button in there to email me. Go ahead and email me, and I'll email you the information about the property. Let's see. He's got internet and cable like normal. Yep. Shark repellent. Somebody was asking about shark repellent. Shark repellent is not something that I've used in the past. Sharks tend to leave me alone. I'm as big as most sharks. And really, it's not. Shark Week on television has really kind of skewed things for everybody. More people die in car accidents driving to the beach than ever die while out swimming in the ocean from shark bites. Actually, sharks don't worry me too much. What worries me on the ocean is whales, because whales will come up and sometimes they'll get amorous with your boat and come up and rub on it to knock their barnacles off. And in doing so, they can break a rudder and sink your boat. So whales are an issue. This new flesh-eating bacteria is really a problem, especially on the west coast of Florida. And I honestly believe that we've put so much pollution and chemicals in the ocean, we've created an environment where we're starting to develop superbugs like that, and that will become a real issue. I missed some posts here, so let me scroll up a little bit. Life vest for both of you at all times, Carl, unless you're on autopilot. Yeah, we will have an autopilot on the sailboat, so that's not a problem. There's not too much water in the ocean. There's just the right amount. My journey will most definitely be educational, and that's kind of the whole idea. It's to be able to produce very much like a Jacques Cousteau kind of a channel. I want to be able to produce information that, not like school stuff, not like classroom kind of stuff, but just like when we were, okay, most of you guys are my age. Remember watching Jacques Cousteau? You remember watching those guys scuba dive and seeing what it looked like under the ocean back then, how exciting and cool that was? Why isn't there anybody producing that kind of stuff anymore? There's nobody reporting on what's going on under the world's oceans. So it's really interesting to see how that goes. Talking about for Lily's life vest. Yes, Lily has a life vest. She will have it on. She'll pretty much have it on anytime she's on the deck. Carl, not many people are out in the ocean swimming with the sharks. Teresa, you'd be surprised how many people are on the ocean swimming with sharks. You'd be surprised how many people are out at the beach swimming around and don't realize how close a shark is to them. Yes, deer kill more people than sharks. That's true. Freeze-dried food. No, Woody. We'll be eating seafood. I enjoy a fresh fish dinner, especially the kind of fishes that I would target. I will be doing some spear fishing. And, in spear fishing, I get to be very choosy and pick out exactly what I want, so I'm only going to shoot the most tasty fish. I will not be spear fishing on this trip, so you understand. It's not going to be like when I go over here and go fishing and then catch a bunch of fish and bring them home, so I have fish to eat here in the cabin for a while. While I'm out on the boat, I'm only going to be harvesting that day what I'm going to eat that day. I don't have massive amounts of refrigeration on a sailboat. Don't want to run the power to maintain that. Talk over where Jacques left off. Didn't his son take over? Teresa, no, not really. The Cousteau family really fell in odds with the Jacques Cousteau Society. It became a money thing. The board of directors for the society, actually, one of the sons tried to open a resort, an eco-friendly resort, and the Jacques Cousteau Society would not let him use his own name in operating and developing that resort because it would, they thought, detract from their revenue they were receiving on all the stuff they're still getting off the Jacques Cousteau name. They use him on Burl School. Well, he does do some diving. I mean, but he's not doing it like his dad did. You know, he's a member of various groups and he does some diving and he talks about things from time to time. But I don't see him on a boat going out and doing stuff. He's just bouncing around from whatever organization is going to pay him a per diem to jump in and do something so they can add his name to the board of directors or whatever for credibility. Yes, I am going to need a slightly larger boat. The one I had was 31 feet. I'm looking for something in the 40-foot range and something where I can have, you know, room for at least 6 people on board. How will you get fresh drinking water? Sorrente, that's really easy. For about $8,000, I can buy a reverse osmosis device. They're very common on sailboats today. And what it does is it takes the salt water and it uses high pressure to pull the salt and impurifications out of the water. And so what you end up with clear reverse osmosis water. It's a desalination system on board. They work very well, very efficient to operate electrically, and very cost effective for out on the water. And you know, you can get systems. I can get a system for $8,000 that'll make enough money that I can take a good hot long shower every day and not have a problem. Everybody on deck could take a nice hot shower. He was a good man. Used to watch him in school a few times. Yeah, Cousteau was awesome, and I don't understand why there's nobody else out there that is doing that kind of thing. In almost every instance, you know, if you guys are my age, you remember Mutual of Omaha's Wild Kingdom. You know, well, you know, Jack Hanna took over doing that kind of stuff. So we still have some, and then now we have a plethora of other people that do very similar types of shows and programming. Jeff Corwin is an example. But when it comes to the scuba diving, the Jacques Cousteau stuff, I haven't seen anybody. Maybe you guys know to somebody that I'm not thinking about, but I didn't see anybody. Do you consider yourself more of a liberal or a rep? You do a great job of running your live chat. Well, thank you, B. I appreciate that. Do I consider myself more of a liberal or a Republican? You know, B, I have a dilemma with a lot of it. There's a lot of each party that I don't necessarily agree with. So I can't really answer that. I don't consider myself a liberal or a Republican. I am not a Democrat. I'm more leaning towards Republican, but there's a lot of things with the Republican Party I don't agree with. I am going to vote for Donald Trump because I think he's the lesser of two evils for the two choices that we have. But there's a lot of things that he does, like the way he behaves with women and his immigration stances, some of his attitude. His mouth's going to get him in trouble, but you know, we need to shake up Washington, so we can get into that afterwards. So, wow, I'm moving home on water. Yes, Teresa, that's exactly what it is. If you think about it, it's really no different than an RV. A sailboat today has a head, which is a bathroom. It has a galley, which is a kitchen. They're fully equipped and are quite comfortable. So, yeah, and with today's technology, with global positioning and stuff, navigating around the world is a piece of cake. I don't care where I am in the world, I'll be able to pull down Google Earth and be able to get a overhead view of wherever I want to be and see it in real time. So the technology is really awesome and makes that a very safe endeavor at this point. So, yeah, Marlon Perkins. Remember Marlon Perkins, Woody? Yep. Marlon Perkins was another great guy, but you don't see anybody else doing that kind of stuff anymore. Yes, that's right. I am an American. Tried and true. I love our country. Frustrated with our country, disappointed in our country in a lot of ways, proud of our country in more ways. But yes, I am definitely an American. T, I do have some waterproof cameras. I do have to get a dive housing for my big camera. I've got to get a dive housing for my Canon, which I will be doing. When we were doing our Travelers in Paradise show, I had a Panasonic HVX 200 high def, production. What do they call it? Broadcast quality video camera, and it did an awesome job. But the soon-to-be ex-wife took that along with the dive housing that we had for it. So now I'm replacing it with this, and with this. These are both dive cameras. Believe it or not, this little one costs $200 and it goes down to 30 feet. Most of the life underneath the ocean is in the first 30 feet, so that'll bring us a lot of stuff. And it doesn't need a housing. I can throw this in 30 feet of water just the way it is. And then I also have a GoPro, and I'm getting a few more of these GoPros, so I just have backup. But they also they do a wonderful job. They shoot in 4K now, so the picture quality is phenomenal. I thought we shot some really good quality stuff with our big, $6,000 Panasonic. This little GoPro does a better job. It really does. So, in some things, in some ways, it doesn't allow me a lot of options for, the strain and stuff like that. Stay out of the Bermuda Triangle. Teresa, the Bermuda Triangle was a problem when everybody was dependent on magnetic compasses. Now with global navigation GPS, it's not a problem. The Bermuda area, they had some magnetic issues there that were screwing people up, which caused a lot of problems there. So, Sorrente, we'll see you later. Woody says science ain't cool anymore. I disagree with that, Woody. I think science is cool. I think it's something that we need to start directing ourselves back towards. We'll see. Let's see. Rhonda says you have to have power for a toaster. Yeah, you do. And so, the boat will have a generator on it. Plus, it's going to have an engine, a diesel engine with an alternator. So it will be able to generate some stuff. We will see. Tex Abaman, Grandpa got some swag. You mean the cameras? Is that what you're referring to? Christine, my dad works at the Oceanographic Institute to help Jock. Oh, that's awesome, Christine. I'd love to hear more about that. I would really like to hear more about that. Teresa says, yes, but there's some really bad storms in that area. There are storms everywhere. In fact, Rhonda asked me earlier, what do you do about hurricanes? And hurricanes are easy. You simply aren't there. Hurricanes run into the season. There's a hurricane season. The hurricane season in like the Caribbean is during the summertime, so you don't be in the Caribbean during the summer. Hurricane season over on the West Coast is, again, starts in May and runs into the summer. Just don't be there that time of year. The time to be on the Pacific Coast in the summertime is up here in Alaska waters, Seattle and that area. You're too far north of hurricanes. In the wintertime, you go down to Mexico and that area. So, am I designing the new boat? No, I will be buying a used boat. The last boat I had, if you watch some of my videos, you'll see it shown in there. It was a 31-foot Cal. I paid $19,000 for it. I'm going to be looking to spend somewhere in the neighborhood of $50,000 on the new boat that I'm buying. So it'll be larger and have more bells and whistles. But it'll be a used boat. There's no reason in wasting money on a bunch of new stuff. So you need to buy the Northwestern. What's the Northwestern? How do you know to map the storms on a boat? Teresa, there is something called NOAA. The same weather people that predict the weather for everybody. Our handheld VHF, our radios that we keep on the boat, have a button that I can push, and it takes me directly to a weather station so I can listen to the weather. We also download online Grib files. A grib file is a map that forecasts the wind and wave action in a particular area. We can subscribe to a service that would provide us with all that information so we can keep ourselves safe and outside of harm's way. And so we'll be using those. Okay, the Northwestern is the crab boat. Yes, okay, now I get it. What do you do if you see a ghost ship? I've never seen a ghost ship, so I don't know what to do. I have found abandoned ships out in the ocean before, and so you just leave them alone and go on your way, or you sink them. Our Navy sinks them when it finds them. Yes, nice boat, but you need to add to it. Yes, T, we will be adding quite a bit to it. Deadliest Catch Boys or the Time Bandit or any of those, they are sound boats. Teresa, they are sound boats, but they are huge boats, and they are very wasteful. Okay, I'm buying a sailboat that sails very slowly. Okay, I'll be traveling around the world at the equivalent of 7 miles an hour. Top speed of my boat is going to be 7 miles an hour, but I'll be traveling in wind power, so I'm not going to be consuming thousands of gallons of fuel. The Deadliest Catch boats burn more diesel fuel in 1 hour than what I'm using as a realtor up here in Alaska, and I have to drive long distances every day. More fuel than I use in an entire year, that boat burns in an hour. I could not afford to take a boat like that around the ocean. My sailboat, I'll be able to sail around the world with hardly any fuel waste at all. In fact, it's really very much a low carbon footprint type existence. You hear everybody talking about buying these small cabins and having small footprints. When you're living on a sailboat, everything is solar powered and wind powered. You do have a diesel engine for motoring around in the marina, and you have a generator for backup, but 90% of what I'll be doing will be solar and wind. So my expenses will be minimal. In fact, my cruising budget is less than $25,000 a year. It'll cost less than $25,000 a year for me to sail around the world. And that's dealing with all the expenses of marinas and having to pay. Every time you go in and out of countries with your sailboat, you've got to pay those countries' entry and exit fees and stuff. It's not like flying on an airplane. So just mess with it. It's okay. How big was Jacques' boat? He had a couple different boats, but they were generally in that 80 to 90 foot, some of them larger. I think the first boat he had, I think it was 85 or 90 feet, and the second boat I think he had was like 140. So very expensive to operate. Okay, have you been on those great big boats? Yes, I've been on very huge boats. Everything from huge cruise ships down to sailfish. I've been on a plethora of boats. My dad was a photographer. He didn't go out to sea with him though. He did pictures on land with him. Cool. Very cool. Well, my passion is to do the underwater stuff. I started scuba diving when I was a kid. I got certified. In fact, when I was in high school, I got trained by U.S. Navy SEAL, who was the scuba instructor at the high school I went to in Bahrain, and so I got pretty good at it. So will it have 2 masts? Wait a minute. Gabby said, so Grandpa, which a 2-catch or a yawl? Gabby, I don't know what style boat I'm going to end up with. I'm going to have to start shopping and see what I can find. And I would prefer having something with 2 masts. I like the redundancy and, of course, the sail control of having a mizzen. It'll just be time to see what it is. And the mizzen, for you guys that don't know, you have your main sail and your mizzen sail. Your mizzen sail is the smaller sail on the smaller mast. So when you think about sea monsters, oh, Psycho Panda, I am the sea monster. I'll be the thing that's the biggest problem. The boat I sailed on was over 1,100 feet long. Okay, that's yachting. That's not sailing. We need more Flipper and Doctarian on TV. Doctarian? Don't know what that is. But yeah, Flipper, I like that kind of show. That would be fun to have more of that kind of stuff. What do you if you do come across... What can you do if you come across pirates? There's nothing you can do. You can try to defend yourself. You'll probably end up getting killed. Most of the piracy nowadays is they just want your boat, and they usually put you in your We have a life raft on the boat. They'll put you in a life raft and send you a float, is what they usually do. Or they'll hold you for ransom, which good luck holding me for ransom. There's nobody to pay it. So I probably won't be bothered too much by them, and I'll be sailing around in a very small, not wealthy looking boat at all. So I don't imagine I'll be too much of a target. Okay. Hey, Bumblebee, how you doing, man? Sneaks into the back pew. We caught you. Oh, aircraft carrier. There you go, Ray. Yep, that would be 1,100 feet. I guess it would be. That's, yeah, I didn't pick up on that the first time. Okay. Yes, pick up. That would have to be 1,100 feet. Would have to be an aircraft carrier. So. Okay, so anyhow, that's kind of what I'm aiming at. I'm aiming at trying to buy a boat and sail around the world. I will be posting videos on a regular basis. There are some places I really want to sail to. I'd like to sail into Manhasset Bay in Port Washington, New York, where I grew up as a kid. I'd like to sail into Bahrain in the Persian Gulf, where I finished high school. I'd like to sail into Beirut, where I spent a lot of time as a kid. I want to go to Cyprus in the Mediterranean because I want some Kio beer, and they make really good beer. I want to hit the see the Great Barrier Reef before the rest of it dies, because it's having real problems right now. Let's see, lots of potty pads for Lily. Yes, we will be carrying lots of potty pads for Lily. That's how Lily deals with it. She'll be trained to go into one room and go to the bathroom on one of those little puppy pad things, and we'll just simply bag those up and dispose of them. T says, when I sail in, you'll be there to meet me. When I sail into Port Washington, you'll be there, T? That would be awesome. Yeah, Cyprus is awesome. It's an interesting country, being divided both Greek and Turkish. For those of you who are wondering, that's not grapefruit juice, it's pink lemonade. And no, there's no vodka in it. Although that's an idea. Imagine all the flags Grandpa will be flying after each port. Yeah, sailing around the world is going to be pretty interesting. If I'm lucky. Oh, is it 3-2? Game over? 3-2 Cubs? Huh. If I'm lucky, I'll be waiting at the town at TN Port. Cool. All right, we'll meet up there. Absolutely. We can certify dive. I'm certified. That's cool. Although, T, there's not great scuba diving to be had on Long Island, but we certainly can. Viz is not great. Woody says he was in Beirut, got half blowed up. Yeah, Woody, I used to spend a lot of time at the Phoenicia Hotel in Beirut. My dad and mom liked to go there, and so we went there every year when I was a kid. 7th inning stretch. Okay, thanks. So, there's a lot of places I'd like to see, but my plan is, if I'm lucky, I'm going to buy a boat up here in Alaska, sail out of here in the springtime, down through the coast, along the coast, down into Canada, and then Seattle, Washington, Oregon, along the coast, California, San Diego, and then in San Diego, I plan on doing a big refurbish and restocking of the boat, and then heading down along the coast of Mexico and spending the first winter in the Sea of Cortez, scuba diving along there, and then mid-late winter, I'm going to head out of there and head down to Panama, and probably try to find a little hurricane hole in Panama to spend the rest of the summer hiding from whatever tropical storms may come up, and then from there heading across to the Galapagos and on into French Polynesia, Tahiti, Fiji, that area, and on around. So you get your lobsters diving. Cool, T. So do you have enough visibility there that you can do that? When I grew up in Long Island, visibility was pretty bad. Of course, I guess it depends on how windy it is and how much it blows up, but T said just came back from Florida diving. Cool. I had a real estate office down on Marathon Key in the Florida, in the Keys. Love scuba diving down there. Text Adam and send me a few lobsters. Yeah, right. No, you said lobsters. Did you mean lobsters in Florida or lobsters off Long Island? Because I used to get lobsters off Long Island. Right there in Long Island Sound. Right there off the north shore of Long Island, Port Washington. We would get lobsters right there. In fact, there was one time I pulled up my anchor with my boat and found a rope laying across it, and I followed the rope down and found a bunch of lobsters in a lobster pot, and I was a stupid kid and I helped myself to them. Could have gotten in a lot of trouble, but stolen lobsters sure do taste good, though, I have to admit. I did a rescue diving training, but did it once, found the DOA, and it was just not a job for me. Yeah, Teresa, and I've spoken to you about this before. I did rescue diving, swiftwater rescue diving in Montana. And, you do it because you have to, but man, is it cold. Waters are a bit more clear. Cool, that's good to know. On Long Island. Cool. Are you a ham? Yes, Ray, I am a ham. I eat a lot of ham, and I am a ham. Ham I am. But I am not a ham radio, if that's what you're referring to. Thanks, Tex Aberman. I hadn't thought about that. Yep, North Shore for fish and South Shore for corn. Okay, North Shore for fish and South Shore for corn. All right, I get it. I whistled at scuba diving in the Keys, but I was younger, trying to pay for college and needed the money. Yeah, Mark, well, that's tough. Yeah, I think you meant ham radio too. No, I'm not a ham radio person. Nowadays, what we have for emergency services out on the boat, we have something called an EPIRB, P-U-R-B, and it is a radio telephone of a specific frequency that no matter where I am in the world, if it hits the water and it goes off, it'll alert the Coast Guard or whoever as to where I am. It won't tell them what the problem is. It just lets them know where I am and that it's having an emergency, so they can dispatch people to come out and help. And then, of course, we're also going to have a satellite phone with us, which, again, will be used just for emergency purposes. Technology today is really awesome. Not quite there yet. I'm waiting for a time, and I think it's going to happen the next decade, where I'll be able to use my cell phone anywhere in the world, not just on land, but anywhere in the world, once it's tied more to the satellite dishes and not tied so much to towers. Once they make that change away from towers, it's going to be awesome for us that sail. I wonder if as kids we sailed past each other. We may have, Gabby. We may have. I'm a first responder certified in diving. Cool, T. Very good. I went through several training programs, T. The one with scuba is Triangle Rescue. Okay. Oh, don't be jealous, Gabby. You'll be able to follow along. I'm hoping that will be the whole idea, is be able to have people follow along and see what we're doing. And be interested in some of the stuff we're talking about. The plastic studies is one of the things I actually take water samples up here in Alaska and send it in. It's amazing, even up here in some of these remote, pristine rivers, practically at the source, how much plastic particulate there is in the water. It's really disturbing. And when you think about how much of it's made its way out into the ocean and the impact on that, oh, I got something for you. How many of you guys go grocery shopping and just let them put the groceries in the plastic sacks and take them home? How about, let me see some hands. How many people here watching will actually do that? Because the problem with that is those plastic bags eventually end up out in the ocean, and they float in the ocean like a jellyfish. Turtles eat jellyfish. And so what happens is I've seen those bags floating in the ocean, and they look just like a jellyfish floating around. The turtles will come up and eat them, and then they'll get a plastic impaction and die from it. So it's one of those things that I would recommend. And again, not to be a soapbox, but I got to figure out, and this is the key thing here, I got to figure out a way of being able to explain this kind of message without people being upset about it, but getting the point across that every time you get one of those plastic bags, think about some turtle in the ocean dying from that. And, it's kind of like, I don't know if you guys remember the old Native American that cried when he saw the garbage out in the forest. Don't make the Indian cry, clean up your garbage. Well, this is going to be the same kind of thing. Try to think about a turtle dying out in the ocean because you took that plastic bag and threw it away. Or, you bought plastic bottles instead of recycling. Okay, I bought some grapefruit juice, and now I use this as my drink jug. I use this over and over and over and over and over again. Try to reduce my plastics consumption. Oh, carpe diem, people. That's right. Carpe diem. Seize the day. Do something. Tree says I have material sex. Yeah, I do too. I use these little insulated zipper bags. In fact, this is a bag full of bags, actually. And that's what I take with me when I go grocery shopping. Sometimes I forget. Sometimes I do. And then I ask them to put it in paper instead of plastic if I can. And there's times I've just said, hey, put it all back in the cart without a bag, and I'll push it out to the car and put it all in the seat without a bag. And then I'll use my bags for carrying it in. So the ocean is the third world's landfill. Woody, it's not just the third world. There's a lot of the first world throwing a lot of garbage out into the ocean too. Yes, the third world is much worse than we are at that, but it's really sad, you know. When you're out in the ocean on a sailboat and you're 500 miles away from the closest land, and you see a water bottle floating by, and someone's broken flip-flop floating by, it's just disheartening, you know. It really is disheartening. So yeah, use paper. Paper can be recycled. Wood is a recyclable a material, and it's a renewable resource. So try to stick with those things. Yeah, Tex Evan, I agree. I think, you know, a lot of places are talking about banning plastic bags in a lot of places. Some countries have already done that, especially down the Caribbean. Paper, you know, it costs a couple pennies more to do a paper sack over a plastic bag. Tell your grocery store to go back to using paper. I always keep mine in the trunk anyways. Yep. And Fowler got hit by a pitch on the back. Ooh, Fowler got hit by a pitch. I'm sorry, guys. I got the World Series on the TV here next to me, and if Cleveland wins, it's 3-2 at the bottom of the seventh right now. If Cleveland wins, it's the end of the series. So, and you know me, I'm an Ohio boy, so I want Cleveland to win. The Cheshire Canary on there, Rhonda, she's voting for Cubbies. So she and I have been arguing about that for a while. Yeah, Teresa, remember that? Using paper sacks to cover your books for school? I remember doing that. We still should be doing that. Yeah, kids today don't use school books. You're right. They use laptops, which I guess in some ways is better, in some ways is worse. But we'll see. Gonna put milk in cardboard, and then my dad laughed. Well, they still put milk in cardboard. In fact, I see a disturbing process now where they're starting to put milk in the plastic containers, and I'd really like to see them go back to using the wax cardboard. Oh, let's see here. School books, and then they don't get them anymore. Okay. Hey, Grizz, what's wrong with you, man? I haven't seen you get bounced yet today. You're losing your touch, I guess. Maybe they finally beat you into submission, huh? Ray lost sound. Try refreshing, Ray. It should come back. It should come back. Okay. Well, anyhow, that's kind of all I wanted to talk about today, was kind of give you guys a little bit of an update. We are changing direction with our channel to some degree. We are going to be going into more of the sailing stuff. I do not have a lot of footage of sailing stuff, obviously. So I'm still going to be doing homesteading and life in Alaska and all of that, probably right on through till this coming summer. So there'll still be a lot of that stuff going on, but there will be a decided change in direction with the channel somewhat. But we'll try to give you as much cool stuff as we can. Lots of Massachusetts towns ban plastic bags and bottled water. Good deal, Woody. I'm glad to hear that. Yeah, and you know, Teresa, there's a good glass. There's nothing wrong with buying stuff in glass anymore. Glass is inert. It doesn't hurt the population any at all. And it can be ground back down and heat back up and remade into something else. Glass is infinitely recyclable, as is aluminum. Not bad to get stuff in aluminum. So, he's a cub, just stole second. Okay. Thanks, Rhonda. Did you guys bounce Grizz? I'm recovering from hunting. Oh, did you get anything, Grizz? Did you shoot anything? Not yet. Oh, well, that's too bad. He hasn't been kicked because Jason from Big Family, okay, was in the beginning of the show. What does Jason having been in our show have anything to do with Grizz not being booted? I hate plastic crap and metal, aluminum, never did care for them. Okay. I like glass. Glass breaks, so you gotta be careful with it, but I like glass. And I like cardboard. Paper and cardboard works fine. Wood is a renewable resource. Steep terrain here and I'm getting old. Okay, Grizz, I get it. I get it. Makes it difficult. Yeah, Mark, you remember that? The milkman would come along and drop off your milk and eggs. And where we lived in Port Washington, New York, we actually had a little box that was in the concrete. It was poured into the concrete. And it was so that the milkman could come and drop the milk off. And he would put it in that and didn't have to come up to the house. It was out by our trash cans, actually. So it was sort of interesting. Well, Grizz, I hope you get that deer. I'd be happy to see you get that deer. I'd be interested to see that. But it's our time here is over, friends. We are hour and 7 minutes, and we're past 7 o'clock. And old Grandpa is got some stuff I have to get done before I go to bed here pretty soon. Well, a few hours, but and I want to watch the rest of the World Series. Gosh darn it! So. Just the way it is. I'm a guy, we like sports. So unless you guys have any more questions, I'll give you a minute here too. If you guys have any more questions you want to ask me about doing this, you will learn a lot about sailboats and sailing and low carbon footprint lifestyle and some of these conservation issues I'm going to be getting involved with. If you have any interest in that. In fact, if you do have interest in that kind of stuff, please let me know. If there's anything that you would like to see me report on or do coverage on or talk about research for you, please let me know. Put it in the comments on here so that I can get a handle on what you guys would like to see happen. So we have a milk slot inside of our house. Put milk in from the outside. Oh, that's cool. You would put it in from one side, you can get out the other side. That's pretty cool. More fishing videos. We're here pushing your new adventure. Cool. Thank you. Oh, there you go, Grizz. Okay, while Grizz is timed out, everybody hide. Danny Panetta, go turkeys. Okay. Welcome, Danny. I'm glad you made it. We're just getting ready to log off now. Yeah, nowadays, actually, you know, it's sort of interesting. I'm going to take a minute and talk about this because I find this to be really exciting. The internet is actually causing a resurgence in services like the neighborhood milkman or, you know, the bread and eggs getting delivered. There's a lot of programs being delivered in more upscale urban neighborhoods where the local grocery stores are set up so that you can call them on your phone, or you can have an app actually on your phone where you tell them all the groceries that you want to have and they then deliver it out to you. And I understand in some of these neighborhoods they're so trustworthy, they actually come into your home. They are given your alarm codes or your key code for your door or whatever. Actually, they will come into your home and open your refrigerator and put the stuff straight in there. Some refrigerators will actually order the stuff for you directly. Mind-boggling where technology is taking us. But I thought it was interesting how this new technology, the internet and stuff, and smart refrigerators is now bringing a resurgence into very old technology, which is having the local milk, egg, and bread dairy guy delivered to you. I thought that was pretty cool. T said we get eggs and milk delivered. Cool, that's nice that you get delivered. New fridges roll the groceries. Yeah, they do. They actually do. They actually keep an inventory. They barcode scan everything that goes in the refrigerator, and when it runs low, they reorder. Oh man, good old good humor ice cream. I remember that back in the day. Actually, Gabby and Teresa, when I lived down in the Florida Keys, there was a woman there driving around in a minivan delivering ice cream. She would drive up and down the streets, ring the bell on top and everything, just like the old ice cream trucks did. Publix and Kroger's delivers, and so does Whole Foods. Amazon drone delivery. There you go, Woody. Have a drone come in. Well, that's very cool. Very, very cool. Alrighty, guys. Well, I'm going to get going. If you guys have anything else you want to talk about, you can feel free to chat amongst yourselves for a bit. I'll leave the live stream open for a bit so you guys can do that. But I'm going to go ahead and log off. And I really appreciate you guys coming on here and watching and listening to my stories. And let's hope things get to be continue to be more positive and moving along in a good direction. So we'll catch you guys later. You guys have a really good day and good night, everybody.